28 years. That's how long I wore the gray at Bleecker Creek State Penitentiary. Maximum security. The kind of place where you learn to count real quick. Heads, doors, steps to the nearest exit. You count everything because the day you stop counting, that's the day something goes wrong. My name's Frank Kovac, retired sergeant. I'm sitting out here on my back porch right now, got a Coors Light sweating in my hand, talking into my phone because my daughter said I should. I don't know, get it out, therapy or whatever. Fine, let's talk about B Block. Bleecker Creek sits about 40 miles south of nowhere in the flats. 3 housing blocks, A through C, plus the issue, the yard, admin, and the infirmary nobody wanted to visit. B Block was mine. Tier 1 through Tier 3, 48 cells per tier, 144 beds. When it was full, which was most of the time, you had 144 warm bodies locked behind steel doors, and your job was to make sure that number didn't change. Count happened 4 times a day. 0600 standing count. Every inmate on his feet, facing the door. 1200 and 1630 census counts. Then 2300, lights out, you walk the tier with your flashlight, and you count heads on pillows. It's the most boring part of the job. It's also the most important. You miscount, you do it again. You miscount twice, you call the shift commander. Nobody miscounts 3 times because by then you're awake enough to get it right. It was a Tuesday in October, 2019. I remember because the Tigers had just lost and Davis was complaining about it on the walk up to Tier 2. Davis was new, 6 months in, still had that shine on him, still thought the job was about catching bad guys instead of standing in one spot for 12 hours listening to grown men scream at each other. We split the tier. I took the left side, Davis took the right, standard procedure. I finished my side, marked my number, and waited by the control booth. Davis came back looking like he'd swallowed something wrong. "Sarge, I got 73. I looked at my clipboard. "I got 72 on my side. That's 145. Tier 2 had 144 beds, all occupied. 144 inmates. Not 145. Look, miscounts happen. New COs especially. They see a shadow, they count a jacket hanging on a hook, whatever. I told Davis we'd recount, so we did. Top to bottom, cell by cell, door by door, 144. Right on the number. Davis apologized, said he must have double counted somebody at the end of the tier. I told him don't worry about it, write it up, move on. That's what you do. You log the discrepancy, you note the correction, you keep walking. But here's the thing, and I didn't say this to Davis at the time. When we did the recount, I walked the full length of Tier 2 myself, all the way to the end. Cell 47 is the last cell on the right side before the fire door. That cell was supposed to be empty. It had been empty for years. Plumbing issue, work order that never got filled. Nobody was housed there. During the recount, Cell 47's door was closed. Now, in an empty cell, protocol says the door stays open. Cracked at least 6 inches so any CO walking by can see inside without breaking stride. That's policy. Open door means empty cell. Closed door means occupied. Cell 47's door was closed, and I could feel cold air bleeding out from underneath it, like somebody'd left a window open in December. Except Cell 47 didn't have a window. None of the cells on that end did. They bricked them up after the '94 renovation. I should have opened that door. That's my job. Check every cell, confirm every space, but I didn't. I walked past it, marked my count, went back to the booth. I've been asking myself for 6 years why I didn't open that door. Best answer I got? I didn't want the number to change. 3 days later, Friday, 600 standing count. I took Tier 2 myself this time, told Davis to handle Tier 1. I wanted to walk it alone because I guess I wanted to prove to myself that Tuesday was nothing. Just a new CO making a rookie mistake and me getting spooked over a closed door. 28 years in corrections, you don't get to be the guy who's afraid of an empty cell. So I walked it. Left side first, then right side. Every inmate on his feet, facing the door, hands visible. I counted them off one by one, tapping my pen against the clipboard. I've done this 10,000 times. I could do it in my sleep. Some nights I think I did. Left side 72, right side 73, 145. I counted again. Standing right there in the middle of the tier, I counted the right side again. 73. I wasn't miscounting. I wasn't seeing shadows. I had one more head than I was supposed to have. I called it in. Shift commander kicked it up to Warden Hargrove. Hargrove was old school. Came up through the system back when you could still smoke in the control rooms. He didn't believe in ghosts, didn't believe in excuses, and he sure as hell didn't believe in miscounts. He ordered a full block lockdown, every inmate back in their cell, doors locked. Then he ordered a shakedown, cell by cell, top to bottom, every tier. We brought in COs from A block and C block to help. 14 officers tearing through B block looking for, I don't know what. An extra person, a tunnel, contraband, something that would explain the math. They found nothing. 14 guys, 4 hours, and the most exciting thing anyone turned up was a sharpened toothbrush in cell 19 and somebody's homemade wine fermenting in a trash bag under a mattress. Standard stuff. No extra bodies, no tunnel, no explanation. But I pulled the camera footage. See, B block had cameras on every tier, ceiling mounted, wide angle, black and white. They recorded to a hard drive in the control room. The quality was garbage. Budget hadn't updated those cameras since maybe 2011. But you could see enough. I pulled the footage from Tier 2 during the Tuesday night count. Watched myself walk the tier, watched Davis on the other side. Everything normal, until I got to the far end. The last 4 cells on the right. Cell 47, the empty one. The one with the closed door. In the footage, there was someone standing inside, facing the wall, hands at their sides, just standing there like they were waiting for something. The image was grainy. I couldn't make out a face, couldn't tell what they were wearing, but that was a person. That was a person-shaped thing standing in a cell that had been empty for 12 years. I showed it to Hargrove. He stared at the screen for a long time, then told me to pull the housing file on cell 47. So I did. And that's when things stopped making any kind of sense. The last inmate assigned to cell 47 was Daryl Meeks, inmate number 042281. Meeks came in on an aggravated assault charge in 2004, got 18 years. In February 2007, he was transferred to the SHU after an incident in the yard. I don't remember the specifics. Some kind of altercation with another inmate. 3 weeks into his SU time, Meeks hanged himself with a bed sheet. I wasn't on shift that night, but I knew the guys who found him. They said he was cold by the time they cut him down. That was 2007, 12 years before the count went wrong. But here's what the file said. Daryl Meeks was never marked deceased in the system. His status still read active, B block, tier 2, cell 47. His commissary account was still open, and it had been updated every single month for 12 years, a balance adjustment of $0.00. Every month, like clockwork, like someone was maintaining it. I showed Hargrove. He didn't say anything for a while. Then he said, "Fix the record, mark him deceased, close the account." So I did. I updated the file, changed his status, closed the commissary account, submitted the paperwork, and I thought that was the end of it. Yeah, that's what I thought. I went home Friday night, slept fine. Weekend was quiet, no incidents, no count discrepancies. But then Tuesday came around again, and when Davis called me on the radio during 2300 count, I already knew what he was going to say. "Sarge, I got an extra." I told Davis to stay at the booth. I was going to walk tier 2 myself, and this time I was going all the way to the end. Sorry. Even now, just thinking about that walk, my hands get tight. Give me a second. Okay. I started at cell 1, counted every head, every bunk, every door. The tier was quiet. 2,300 count. Most of these guys were asleep or pretending to be. My flashlight beam catching faces, arms hanging off bunks, eyes watching me from the dark. Normal. All normal. Cell 44, 45, 46. All occupied, all correct. Then cell 47. The door was closed again, and I could feel that cold before I got close. Not air conditioning cold, not draft cold, the kind of cold that doesn't belong indoors. The kind that makes your body tell you to turn around. I didn't turn around. Not this time. I reached for the door. The handle was so cold it almost burned. I pulled it open. The cell was empty. No one inside. No one standing against the wall like the camera had shown. But the bunk had a depression in it. A body-shaped impression in the thin mattress, like someone had just been lying there. And it was warm, not room temperature. Warm like skin, like someone had gotten up the second I touched the door. And the wall above the bunk. Tally marks, scratched into the cinder block with something sharp. They started near the top left corner and went all the way across, then down, then across again. Rows and rows of them. Groups of 5. I started counting, but I already knew what the number was going to be. From February 2007 to October 2019, every single day, 4,600 and something marks. Someone had been counting the days in a cell that had been empty for 12 years. I backed out, closed the door, walked straight to the control booth, and told Davis to run the count one more time. Full tier, every cell. He came back in 11 minutes. 144, Sarge, counts clean. I almost felt relieved. Almost. Then I asked the question I should have asked first. Any cells showing empty? Davis checked his sheet. Looked at me. Cell 31. Eddie Purcell. He's not in his bunk. Cell 31 was on the left side. I'd counted that side myself. I thought I'd seen, a shape in that bunk. A head on a pillow. We went to cell 31. The door was locked, sealed. No one had opened it since lockdown. I radioed for the control room to pop the door. It opened. The cell was empty. The bunk was made up, tight corners regulation style, and it was cold. Not someone just left cold. Ice cold. Like no one had slept in that bed in a long, long time. Eddie Purcell, inmate number 180547. 12 years for armed robbery, 3 years into his sentence. Nobody saw him leave. Nobody heard anything. The door was locked from the outside. The cameras showed nothing. A shape in the bunk during my count, then nothing during Davis's count. He was gone. We searched the facility, every block, every closet, every drain cover. Purcell was gone. Hargrove called the state police. They searched too. Nothing. But I pulled Purcell's intake photo. And then I pulled Meek's old file photo. They could have been brothers. Same build, same jawline. Same flat expression in the eyes, like they were looking at something behind the camera that nobody else could see. Purcell was never found. Officially an unsolved disappearance from a maximum security facility. No breach in the perimeter, no evidence of escape. The report said unexplained, and everybody moved on, because that's what you do in corrections. You log it, you file it, you keep walking. I retired 14 months later. Put in my papers the week after Thanksgiving, walked out in January 2021. But here's the thing. I still count. Every night before I fall asleep, I lie there in the dark and I count. The windows, the doors, the sounds in the house, my wife breathing next to me. I count everything. And some nights, the number's wrong. It's always wrong by one extra. I never open my eyes to check. I just lie there, holding still, keeping my breath steady, trying not to let whatever's in the room know that I know. Because I learned something at Bleecker Creek that they don't teach you in the academy. They teach you that count is about making sure nobody's missing, but that's only half of it. The other half, is making sure nobody extra has come in.